Giannis Antetokounmpo, a name synonymous with excellence in the NBA. This season, he's been nothing short of spectacular, making a compelling case for the MVP award. But is the current MVP voting system equipped to recognize his greatness, or is it hindered by inherent flaws like voters' fatigue? In this one, we're going to talk about how Giannis deserves this year's MVP thus far, highlighting his stellar performance thus far in the season, and highlighting a little bit of the issues surrounding the NBA MVP and the voting of the last couple of years. Now, before we get into this, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you're new. And if you're not new, welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you coming back for another video. And if you are one of those returners, drop a comment down below telling me who your favorite player in the league is right now. And you might just get a chance to getting shouted out in the next video. But for now, let's hop into the video. As it stands right now, Giannis is one of two players averaging 30 plus points per game, 5 plus rebounds, and 5 plus assists. Now the other guy that's doing that is LaMelo Ball. Shout out to him. If you haven't watched that video, make sure you go do that after this one. But with that said, that's an amazing feat with over 300 players in the NBA. To take it a step further, it seems like he's really honed in on that mid-range jumper, averaging just under 50% on such shots. Now, we do know that he's developed this year over year, starting in 2015 where he shot 33% on these shots, coming all the way to 2024 where he shoots 47.8% now. Overall, he's shooting 60.8% from the field, and that's a feat no player has ever achieved over an entire season, and it's looking like Giannis can sustain this over the entirety of the year. He's also recorded 5 triple-doubles, ranking 3rd in the league, and without his leadership and play, the Milwaukee Bucks would not have been able to shake back just a little bit as they have thus far after starting a year 2-7. Now, when we talk about the MVP as it pertains to Giannis, I genuinely feel like there are a couple years in years past where he has deserved it, but this year more than ever, he genuinely deserves that MVP thus far. And I know it's early in the year, so it's hard to say, but this is a big topic of conversation because we're seeing another guy in the West, in Nikola Jokic, who is having an amazing season, no doubt, but we're also seeing people crown him almost instantaneously, and I genuinely don't think it's fair, thus this video. In previous season, Giannis delivered an MVP caliber performance, but it was admittedly overshadowed by Jokic, who secured his 3rd MVP in 4 seasons. Now, while I am a Jokic fan and his achievements are definitely commendable, the decision has raised question about the consistency and fairness of the voting process as a whole. The crazy part about it is that both sides do feel slighted. On one hand, you have Jokic and Nuggets fans who believe he won't win due to voters' fatigue. Then on the other hand, you feel like he shouldn't have won as many as he's won because Giannis has deserved one of those 3 that Nikola Jokic has. Now, the thing about voter fatigue, it doesn't really just affect award tallies. It can alter the perception of a player's legacy, and I think this is something that goes under the radar when we're talking about voter fatigue. The innate nature of voters fatigue is just consistently overlooking players' excellence due to the desire for fresh narratives, and that can really diminish their rightful place in history. We see guys like Jokic who haven't been able to get 3 in a row when, you know, we could argue that he deserved 3 in a row, and now that changes how we perceive his MVPs. Of course, 3 is an amazing feat nonetheless, so I don't want to make it seem like we're just up in arms about it, but there is some question marks with regard to the MVP process and the MVP voting that we've seen in the last couple of years. We have 2 years of Nikola Jokic winning, which were admittedly deserved. Maybe that first one was Joel Embiid's. I can maybe concede that. And then we see the 3rd one, who very obviously should have gone to Nikola Jokic, go to Joel Embiid, where it left a lot of us scratching our heads knowing that these two probably should have traded the trophies that they received. Of course, we saw in 2021 and 2022, Jokic won it, but I could argue he was supposed to win it in 23, and then you give Embiid the 2024 award, and we would have a lot better discourse surrounding the award. But after these last 3 years, there's a lot of confusion from a fan perspective. Notice in the years that I did list, nowhere did I name Giannis Antetokounmpo, and that's been unfair because he's arguably been the best player in the NBA for the past 3 seasons. Now, so far into this season, Giannis has elevated his game to new heights. His scoring efficiency, defensive prowess, and leadership have all been instrumental to the Bucks' success thus far. While they started the season in very disappointing fashion, in the last 3 weeks or so, they've slowly climbed the ranks and they're back to 6th in the Eastern Conference, boasting an 8-9 record, one off of being 500. And at the time of this recording, they are up on the Miami Heat by about 20 points, seemingly gonna put them to bed. So by the time you watch this, it will likely be a 500 team, and maybe even possibly above the Miami Heat. I'm not sure how that tiebreaker goes, but either way, they're going to be in the 6th or 5th spot in the Eastern Conference. And that 6/5 seed is largely attributed to Giannis Antetokounmpo. Even seeing a disappointing start to the year from Damian Lillard, we still have seen a steady Giannis. And if we could see Damian Lillard return to his true form, he's been better the last couple games, so it does look like he may be getting there. But if we could see him return to that true form we know he could be at, the Milwaukee Bucks can see themselves becoming a contender and a true force in the Eastern Conference, and with those top 3, Cavs and Celtics at the top of the Eastern Conference. Chris Middleton is coming back soon, so this may cause a dip in Giannis's point total, causing him to possibly not win the scoring title this year. But I do think, for the most part, he can sustain his averages of 32, 12, and 7, shooting about 60% from the field, because this year he has shown he's expanded his game in ways that we didn't expect to even happen. Giannis has been such an unstoppable freight train that we thought he would always continue to just be that. However, his mid-range shooting is coming along very, very well. Take this shot against the Pacers early in the in-season tournament, for example. He gets the ball in the high post against Obi Toppin, faces up, and takes a quick rhythm dribble, pull up, and hits a sweet mid-range from about 18 feet. This is another aspect to Giannis's game that he's pulled out over the course of this season. Let's take another example against the 76ers, where we see Giannis is the play initiator for them early in the first quarter. He slowly dribbles into a high screen from Brook Lopez, trying to force the switch, getting Andre Drummond on him. Once he gets Andre Drummond on him, you see Gary Trent Jr. clear his side of the floor so he can go ISO. And before he even goes to get a bucket, look at how many eyes are on Giannis and how many bodies are gravitated towards him. Hell, Taurean Prince's man isn't even looking at him. Giannis can skip this to Taurean get an easy 3, or even dump it to Damian Lillard, and that all starts with the gravity that is Giannis Antetokounmpo. But even still, to finish the play, he hits another sweet pull-up midi jumper in rhythm, nothing but net. These are the kinds of shots that people have said will unlock Giannis's game, and it has done that over the last couple years or so, but this year it's done it even more by way of him shooting them very efficiently. Even better, it's expanded his game to the point where he's now shooting comfortable pull-up threes. Now, I'm not going to sit here and act like he's hitting that shot at an elite clip, but what I can say is it's very respectable. And it's to the point where if Giannis is having a game, he's liable to hit a couple of threes on his way to a 40-point night. Now, obviously, with it being early in the year, the main question is, can this be sustained across the long overhaul? Personally, I think it can, because when we see shooting seasons like this, it doesn't just drop off out of nowhere. It doesn't just go away. This is the kind of shooting season we see sustained over the course of the year. And I think Giannis will continue to expand his game as he dominates throughout the NBA season. At this point though, I want to know what you guys think with regard to Giannis, the MVP conversation, and if he deserved one of those MVPs that I mentioned that I thought should have gone to him. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, as I already mentioned before. I appreciate you guys as always, and until next time, it's your boy TB with the greatest hoop stories and debates on the tube, and I'm out. Peace.